Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Diaries of a Bodybuilding Dad. My name is Tyler. I am a coach at Pro Physique. If this is your first time watching one of these videos, first, thank you for watching and then clicking on it. It would be awesome if you could just hit that subscribe button or hit the like button, just so that more people can view this and hopefully get something out of it. Second of all, this has been going on for a little bit, so if you would like a little bit more background, go ahead down below. I've got the full list of all the videos that I've done so far in this series, so go ahead, please feel free to watch those, get caught up, and then here we are for today. For those who are returning again, once again, thank you for coming back for more content. It definitely means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. I hope that some of you have been able to get something out of this that you can just apply in your own life and your own journey. Ultimately that is what this is. This is me sharing my experience as a new dad, as a bodybuilder. I guess you get, someone who has their own business within Pro Physique. Obviously, I'm with Pro Physique, but trying to do that, and really just the ups and downs that life is. I'm a big believer in sharing our own experiences and what we've gone through. I think there's a lot of opportunity to learn from other people, and ultimately that's what this is. So today we are going to be going through two things. We're going to go through, well, I should say three things. Quick, just family update. Hey, I am a dad, that's in the title, so I may as well be giving family updates. We are going to talk a diet update as well, where I'm about 10 days into my diet here, and then last but not least, we're going to do a quick training update. So there is some training footage at the end. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. But first things first, let's talk a little family update. So our daughter Quinn is 7 months now. It's pretty crazy how fast it goes. People tell you how fast it goes, but just like anything else, until you are in it, you don't actually fully understand what that's actually like. And to be honest, it feels like we just brought her home yesterday, despite it being 7 months. She's starting to army crawl all over the place, so baby gate has been bought. There's going to be some other things. Keep those drawers tight. Time to baby proof the house, because I can tell you already, you turn your back for 2 seconds and she's halfway across the room already. So we definitely are going to have a handful coming up, but we're certainly, obviously, just so excited about that. A lot of other things. She has been starting to teeth. Recently she was sick. She's been dropping a nap as well. So there's been a lot of transformation in her life, and whenever that is, and obviously parents will understand this, there's a lot of transformation in your life as well, right? You're there to help guide them through this and be there for them. And so there's been a lot of lack of sleep. I've had to really learn how to be flexible, with my meals, when I'm eating. Am I eating my meal at once, or am I eating the first half, having to take care of Quinn, come back, eat the second half? I've had to, become quite flexible with when I train. Now, I would say for the most part, the majority of it is consistent, which I think there is a certain amount of consistency that we always want to make sure that we do strive for, but you definitely have to learn to be flexible. And, to be honest, going through this dieting phase, I'm starting to, see another benefit of is, what is it like to diet with a kid? This is something I've never had to do. Every time I've dieted, it's just been me and my wife. And so that just comes with a lot less responsibility and a lot less obligations when you do have more time to focus on yourself and your diet and everything that goes along with it. So it's certainly been an interesting experience so far. I can see how it can make dieting easier. You are definitely a lot more distracted, so you don't think about hunger as often. Or if you're hungry, but all of a sudden you are stuck with your daughter or your kid, and they won't let you put them down for a nap. Guess what? You might be sitting there for 45 minutes and you wanted to have eaten an hour ago, and so it kind of just forces you to not think about the hunger and kind of embrace it. So yeah, that's definitely been, I think, an interesting part of it. So it's been a great experience so far. And so I think that just naturally transitions into, how the first 10 days have gone. So yeah, we are 10 days into my first, real big diet in 4 years. Did a mini cut last year for about 4 weeks. But other than that, I haven't done really anything extensive since my last prep. So the first half of last week went fantastic. Really, honestly, all of last week went fantastic. It was a pretty seamless transition for myself from going to pretty high calories to low calories. In fact, it probably came at just the right time, as my tracking was really getting a lot, very lax through the end of my reverse there. And so I think this was just a great opportunity to refocus, kind of reset a little bit, reset the hunger, because that was definitely something that wasn't there a lot of during the end of my reverse as well. Eating does eventually start to become a little bit of a chore at this point. So I think, yeah, it was just a great reset here. I felt hunger for the first time in a very long time, like true hunger pangs. I would eat, and hour and a half later, I'd be hungry. So definitely it is working. The first week we had some pretty good success with the scale weight. I dropped about 3.5, 4 pounds. Which I think, is to be somewhat expected, considering, where I was sitting and how long I had been reversing. Part of that is definitely going to be some inflammation and bloat that is leaving the system just from being at excess calories for so long. Some of it as well is going to be, there's less glycogen in the water. So when we eat carbs, it enters the body as glucose. And when it gets uptaken into the muscle, it's converted into glycogen. Glycogen does hold extra water as well. So with some of that extra glycogen leaving, a little bit of water's gone. So again, that's going to just lead to a more natural lower weigh-ins. So first week, hard to tell where true fat loss is. So as we now enter the second week, this is where we really kind of start to go, okay, what is going on? Are we losing body fat? And at the rate that we are looking for, which is right around 4 to 5 pounds every 3 weeks. So certainly maybe on a little more of the aggressive side, but we're not trying to be in this diet for very long, and we do have a certain goal of hitting 192 pounds relatively quickly so that we can enter another building phase. So all in all, everything is going well. Definitely just not used to some of the hunger. I also noticed that habits. This was one of the biggest things that really stood out to me, this week, and how much our habits can unconsciously just control us, essentially. So when I am reversing, my carbs are above 500. So when you are eating that much food, it is very hard to eat, purely clean, if you will. I don't like that word, but I think we all know what that means, right? And so you do have to include some other foods in your diet. So some that are low in volume, high in calories. You don't need to eat a lot to get a lot of calories. So every evening, probably for who knows how long, I would always have a bowl of cereal. That was one of my snacks to help me hit my carbohydrate intake as I got towards the end of the day. I found last week, every time, around, that time that I would, around 6, 7 p.m., my brain was like, oh, time for your bowl of cereal. And I almost caught myself a couple times, walking towards the kitchen. I was like, oh wait, I'm dieting. I can't have that bowl of cereal right now. I'm actually out of carbs. So that was a very interesting thing, and I think something pretty important to look at a little bit more, and something that I want to pass on to you guys is, what are some habits that maybe are unconsciously controlling you that might be hurting your consistency or your journey towards that physique goal? Are there things that you just kind of automatically do without even thinking about it? I think it's a really important lesson in making sure that we are being present and that we are taking steps back and really looking at our daily habits or things that we do every single day without thinking about going, does this actually match my goal, or can I change something? So that was just a pretty interesting observation the first week of dieting, but I think other than that everything has gone pretty well. So Now, as we continue to transition through here, we're just going to talk a little bit about training. I think there is still, and I still get this question a lot, is, does my training need to change for fat loss? And before we go ahead and just dive into a little bit of training footage here, no, it definitely should not change that drastically when you do enter a fat loss phase. What builds muscle is what is going to preserve muscle, and you're going to see in some of these videos I am setting some PRs in the 10 rep range and really lifting relatively heavy for myself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Guys, what's up? So here is our training footage here. So nothing too crazy here today. I think the main thing I did want to just talk about is training while in a fat loss phase. And I still get the question a lot of, should I train differently, when I'm in my fat loss phase? And the answer is no. And I think you can see here, dumbbell flat presses is one of my main chest movements. And we're doing sets of 10 here. And you can see, at this point right now, I'm setting PRs pushing, 100-pound dumbbells, which I'm sorry, I just gotta brag a little bit. I've been working a long time for that, and I think it's pretty awesome to finally be able to do it. And so in that first clip there, I had been working up to 10 reps so that when I do hit 10 reps, I start back over at around 7 or 8. I have added weight, and now I'm building up. So, as you can see in that first one, I did about 8-9 reps here, and in this one, I was able to beat last week's PR with a brand new PR right here of, I believe it was 10 reps. And something that I've also been really working on is just getting in the groove with my lifting. And again, if you kind of notice between, the dumbbell pressing here in the two video clips, they look exactly the same. The setup, the, kind of roughly the time that I spend, sitting with the dumbbells, getting ready to lift. I've really kind of started to, make it this ritual where I do the same thing pretty much every single time, because what that does is it just primes that body, and it's something that I just do every single time, and it can just make that lifting experience that much more smoother. And I have found that I've really been able to get into a really good groove here. So you can see here, with my incline press, this is something that I've been really absolutely loving for my pec development. So again, you can see here, controlled, making sure that I have the proper arm angle, that I am getting as many pec fibers as that I possibly can. And again, I'm really making sure that I'm lifting at close to failure. I don't go seconds. You can see I struggle here with this last rep, and I believe that, this is a double drop set here as well. And so I'm also doing some of this work where I'm gonna leave the screen here for a little bit as I grab my dumbbells, but focusing on this intensity of my lifts and making sure that I'm constantly questioning myself, am I pushing myself right up close to failure? And so, it's that question is constantly in my mind, and you can see, my arms are shaking, the speed has slowed down, but it's, really asking myself, how bad do you want this? How hard can you push yourself? And not every workout is going to be like that. There are going to be, and I've got another one coming right here now. So big drop set. Typically, this is, I believe, my only pec movement this day. So, I'm really making sure, again, bringing that intensity, and, basic, when I leave, the pecs are quivering. I can barely write in my notebook, after nearly like a 2-minute set here with very minimal rest. And so that has been, a big part of the journey that I've been on lately here, is really making sure that I'm analyzing my training, and that, I'm pushing myself, as best as I can every single day. And mainly I'm just showing my big movement patterns here, and that, intensity is everything. Hack squat, I have recently backed off again. I got a little lazy with my stretching. Now that I'm getting a little bit older, I am finding that I need to do a little bit more stretching to do some things in the gym, and hack squat is one of them. I got a little lazy with it. My knees kind of started to lock up again, so I am back at the leg press at this point. I lasted about 7-8 weeks there until things started to go down a little bit. So trying not to be too discouraged about it. It's actually maybe a good little learning and a good little note that I can make that, hey, maybe every 7 to 8 weeks, when I'm doing my hack squat, I just need to cycle it out for a couple weeks to make sure that I give myself a little bit of time to feel better. It is a lot of stress on my knees, and I also probably need to do a little bit more stretching. But again, you can see the controlled movement and really just focusing on lifting with as much intensity as possible. So that's going to be it for today. Appreciate you watching. If there are any questions that you have, please comment down below. I want to help you guys out as much as possible. So thanks again for watching. Until next time, have a great rest of your week.